Let me ask you a quick question. The beauty of the situation on the first floor is that it gives me an opportunity which isn't normally there in most firms. The opportunity goes by the name of COS, okay? Because COS is a very small deal away from doing as much in this quarter as your firm, okay? Numbers up on the board, scores on the doors, simple as. That's probably, if I were you, that'd be pissing me off, frankly. If it isn't, get to the point where it is. Because, let me ask you questions. Does COS have anything that you don't have? COS probably lacks a lot of things that you do have. Okay? COS has many attributes, but COS is not particularly educated. By not particularly educated, those of you that have spoken with him at length know that that's something of an understatement, but he's a charming chap. He has the same number of limbs as you do. He's got the same number of pretty much everything as you people do. Is there anything that he's got that you lack? Genuine question. Okay, he puts in a bit more graft, or he did put in a bit more graft while he was building, but now he's not particularly doing that. He'll work when the clients are there, and he's working the States, so okay, he does some lates, but then he's not in now, so it balances out. I'll tell you one thing that COS does have, actually two things that COS does have. The first thing is COS has a great big fuck off why. Okay? He has a reason, and if you've spoken with COS at any length at all, you'll know what that reason is. What it is? Kids. He's got 4 kids, and he doesn't want them growing up like he did. That's it. It doesn't. It's a great why to have. It's nice. It's politically correct, and you can tell it to people generally. It's not quite the whole story. I'm not going to go into what the whole story is for obvious reasons, but it's not quite the whole story. But it's a whacking big chunk of it. Yeah, he's got a great big ass why. He knows why he wants to go and sell stuff. He knows why he wants to go off and make money. He knows why it's worthwhile putting in some evenings. He knows why it's worthwhile making some calls to people on the weekend. He knows why. That's the first thing, which is that. Okay. The second thing is he's screwed the living crap out of this. Yeah? He has a machine. He has designed a system that gives him potential candidates and gives him potential clients. And he has developed a system that works that inbound ferociously. Nothing slips through because it's organized and it's systematic. It's not terribly complicated. It can't be because he and I did it together. We designed the system together. So it can't be that complicated because it's me and him doing it. Okay? So it's not high-end technical stuff. It's just fairly straightforward. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Give you an example. Simple thing. Okay? You guys got anybody that you've spoken to in the last couple of weeks that you're going to want to speak to again in the next couple of weeks? This is yes, this is no. What do you mean, speak to people? Huh? You have? Yeah? Are they in your diary as appointments? Yeah? Every single one? Or have you had the odd one that's going, oh, give me a call in a couple of weeks, I'll have a chat with you? Because the best recruiters are obsessed by a concept of backfack, which is book a call from a call. Another variation is bam fam, book a meeting from a meeting. Yeah. But the last thing you do on this call is book the next call. It's not complicated, it's not sophisticated, but by God, it works to keep your momentum going. Because as Joe and a few of your other guys have said, time kills all deals. So if you want to minimize the time and keep the deal flowing, book a call from a call, book a meeting from a meeting. Simple example. And the third thing that Cos has, which honestly you may or may not have, I don't know at this point, is that he spent a lot of time talking to people outside of actual recruitment, outside of actual hiring processes. So if you ask him what his particular prospects, the private equity firms that he's dealing with, he can give you 1-2 sentences. This is what they're looking for. Maybe 4 or 5 bullet points. That means he can go off and find them as highly desirable candidates a lot easier than most people can. I'm hoping that you guys have started to really finesse that through after the last few sessions we've done. But this is useful, but you've got all the tools, you've got all the systems, you've got all the knowledge to do that. Every single person in this room has all the knowledge you need to do that. Everything from setting up your LinkedIn profile through to turning e-shots and following up on e-shots. You've got all that in here. But because Cos, that's an awkward sentence. But because Cos has that, he's turned knowledge into action. Every single flipping day. Actually, as his coach, every single minute of every day. Yeah. I was quite used to getting stuff, 3 pages of A4 on WhatsApp on a Sunday afternoon. Like, oh, yeah, because he's planning up for the week. Oh, Jesus God. I'm not suggesting you have to be a workaholic. You don't. As I said last week, a week before, I'm doing my run rates about 350,000 a year. I'm doing 12 hours because recruitment is cash flow. It's what I use to drive the academy. God's honest truth. If I was your age, I'd be driving recruitment. But I'm my age, so I'm planning for the business to continue when I've stepped back a little bit, which is the academy, or the membership side of things. That make sense, guys? Fantastic. Right, mindset. I'm not going to go over what Jerome and I did the other week, but what I strongly recommend, if you actually want to understand the real pillars of mindset, dive into Weekly Webinar Wonderland and hit this one, episode 16, okay? And it will take you into the ways, not so much the hoo-yah, not so much the state stuff. That's separately, that's in a whole separate area down here. It's about the way you need to think a little bit, yeah? What is it that you have to think about? And the joy of this particular one is that it's all conscious choice. It's not who you are, it's not your personality, it's not your childhood, it's not your parents, it's not your teachers. It's okay, bunch of brown stuff just dropped on my head. I had 5 deals in the pipeline and they just all went south because acquisitions, nothing I could have done about it. It's just brown stuff. Fine. If there was a way to turn that to my advantage, what would it be? Conscious choice. Okay? And it's also, and this is again something that great salespeople have and good salespeople kind of don't. Good salespeople go, yay, deal, blown the target, wow, yes! And great recruiters go, yay, hit the target. And they use that as a springboard because I've just done a 50 grand deal. I've just done 50, 60 grand this quarter. Fantastic. That means I've got a great springboard for next one. Okay, I did 60 grand. It was in 3 deals. Okay, what if I can get my average deal size to 25 instead of 20? If I did the same number of deals at £5 more, I made, yeah, that's the second pillar. And the third one is to become slightly obsessed about one thing, which is competence. Competence and craft. The difference between craft and skill is craft has science behind it, and it has literal skill. You have to do it consistently. You get better and better and better at it. I am swear to God, the least handy human being you will ever find. I can look at a nail and bend it, not in a Uri Geller kind of way. I just hit it with a hammer and it goes there. My dad was a master slater. My brother was a joiner, woodworker. Okay, and my dad, he had a sort of awkward period about 20 years when everybody decided that, oh no, slate's old fashioned, we want these clay tiles instead. So now when you look around Britain, you see all these ugly ass brown tiles instead of beautiful slates. He had a really hard time for 20 years because all the years he'd taken to develop this craft weren't useful for him. But recruitment as a craft, the science of influence, the science of psychology, the science of persuasion, all of that backed up by putting in the hard yards of practice, getting better and better and better, turn it into a craft. Okay? Give an example of what I first saw as a craft. My dad went out in the car for a day, came back, and he'd been to North Wales, and he came back and he got this big kind of rectangular block of green rock. Okay? I said, that's slate. Oh, yay, slate, horrific, it's a rock. He said, yeah, I'm going to build a fireplace. Do what? I'm going to make a fireplace. Go, Dad. Okay? The most difficult thing about it to him was mixing the cement. Because he literally, I wish I could have got a recording of this, he literally got this block of, it's about the height of this table, and it's about a metre across. Okay? And he got a chisel and a hammer and he just lined it up and went bump once, and a perfectly flat sheet of slate just went and fell off. Because that's how they make snooker and pool tables. Perfectly micrometer flat, smooth piece of slate. He just went bump, and he did that 5 times, and it just went thop, thop, thop. And then he turned it over, and he did exactly the same with the opposite grain. And he just came up with a bunch of rectangular sheets. If you and I had tried it, firstly, we'd have broken our wrists, and secondly, we'd have ended up with chippings. We'd have ended up with gravel. But because he knew the theory and because he had done the practice, he could do what looked like impossible stuff without batting an eyelid. And don't get me wrong, he was showing off. He was showing off to his youngest kid. Of course he was. Wouldn't you? It's awesome. It was, bless him, my dad had lots of qualities. He wasn't an achiever. He wasn't a go-getter at all, but he could do that thing brilliantly. Yeah. So if you've got those 3 conscious choices, becoming obsessed by competence, springboarding off every success you make so that you get bigger, and taking all the brown stuff that falls on you and consciously working out how to turn it to your advantage. If you do those 3 things consistently, you don't need all the hoo-yah stuff. Okay? You can be quiet, you can be understated, you can be methodical. And then if you do those 2 things as well, if you know how to ask questions, if you know how to present your argument, and you've built a machine that gives you the chance to do that, you are unstoppable. Genuinely unstoppable. Okay? Now, let's go back to mindset. Why? Okay? Why? Why? Oh, why? I'm old. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Okay. Why would you like to bill £500,000 in a year? What would it mean to you? I know there's a little voice in your head going, oh, piss off, I can't do that. If I can't do that, if I knew how to do that, I would already. No, you know how to do that. You just aren't doing it yet. Okay? The gap between knowledge and application is a reason. Yeah? It's a reason. What would it mean to you? I mean, simple terms, if you build £500,000, okay, which you all know is entirely possible because there's people up there doing it, right? If you build £500,000 in a year and you've got your normal commission rate, what are you earning? You personally take, before tax. What's your income on it? If you don't instantly know the answer to that, by the way, you're not thinking big enough. Okay? What is the answer? What's the number?
75.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to 125. Yeah, because you'd average about 25. Yeah. The look of slight consternation. So I don't know how to work it out. Okay. Let's accept that 125 is about right. Okay. If you earned 125 a year before our obscene UK taxes, what would that mean for you? What would it mean for you? Okay. Yeah, okay, there's some toys. Yeah, I'm getting an Audi, I'm getting a whatever. Okay, God bless, good luck. Okay. Your stuff. Personally, I've been there, I've done that. I've done the Rolex, I've done the AMG Mercedes, I've done the big ass mansion with a wine cellar and a snooker table and overlooking the it was great. It was awesome. I miss it horribly, but I wouldn't do it again. Because in hindsight, I had much better uses for the 7 figures. Because there were literally rooms in this big ass mansion we never saw. Because it was 2 of us and 4 cats. What are you going to do? I'm not entirely sure what the second and third bedrooms were for my kids to come over. The 4th, 5th, and 6th, I haven't got a clue. Apart from random people who used to rock up on a Saturday night, because it was point of a nose, what are you going to do? But I wouldn't do it that way again, but you could. If you wanted to, that's up to you. Your choice. What would it mean for you? What would you do with it? What could you do with it? What choices would you have that you don't have right now? Okay? Seriously, grab a piece of paper, grab a laptop, do whatever. Scribble some ideas down. Genuinely, what would it mean to you? What could you do that you've dreamed of? What could you do that you can't do now? What would the impact be, both materially and emotionally? Because yes, that's what matters. What could you do with it? What would it mean? What would the impact be? What could you have, be, or do that you can't do right now? And even if there's a little voice in your head going, I'm not materialistic, fine, what charities could you support? At that level, you could probably start a small animal shelter. Whatever is your thing, what is it? What could you, and the categories, by the way, are be, have, and do. Everything comes out to those 3, be, have, and do. What could you be, have, and do when you're earning 125 before tax? Okay, in the UK, you probably only net about 15, but that's not the point. Okay, what would it mean? What would the impact be? What would be different in your life? How would you feel about yourself? Okay. The reason I picked the 125 number, by the way, okay, at 125, do you know what percentile you fall into in the UK income earners? You become the 1% in the UK. You hit 125 of gross income, you're the 1%. Okay? So at the very least, you can sit back and hate yourself, okay? if that's your groove. Okay? What would you be, have, and do? Both positive and negative. What would you stop doing? What would you stop doing? First thing I stopped doing was the cleaning. Why would I bother doing the cleaning when it's much cheaper and pleasant to give somebody else a job? I didn't need that bit of the money to look after my kids, so a better use is to give it to somebody else so they can look after theirs. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be greed. I'm not going to go all Gordon Gekko on you and tell you that greed is good. It's not. Greed is a tool. Yeah? You can be greedy for success, for material things. You can be greedy to change the world. It doesn't matter. Genuinely, make some notes. Nobody's going to judge you on that, and I'm certainly not going to ask you to share them. Okay? That might loosen you up a little bit. Write some stuff down. Because until you can refer back to it, until you can get it there, you can't achieve it. Now, here's a big thing. Here's a big thing. If you are earning $125 a year and you're earning it consistently, and somebody comes to you and says, oh, I'd like you to not do that anymore. I'd like you to go off and be an admin bunny, or I'd like you to go off and train other people on the 40 grand salary. Okay? What would your response be? And go away with short, sharp hip thrusts, yeah? That would be most people's response, okay? But here's the challenge, okay? Here's the challenge. I've done this physically before, and I've done it verbally. This time, I'm going to do it physically. Yeah? £5 grand. £5 grand. The most disappointing thing I've ever seen, by the way, is £250,000 in euros. Because it's 5 of them. Yeah, because these funds euro notes, smuggler notes. So 5 of them doesn't look that impressive. £250,000. Right? Well, €250,000. €5 grand. Okay. If you had that £5 grand, if you've got it in your pocket, you've got it in your purse, you've got it in your wallet, you've got it in your bag, okay? And you're walking down the street and somebody whips your bag, takes it out of your pocket and starts running with it. Okay? They've taken your £5 grand off you. What are you prepared to do to get your £5 grand back? Okay? They've taken your £5 grand off you. What will you do? My bet is you'd probably run down the street, rugby tackle them and beat them to death with their own shoes. But that's just me. Okay? Am I wrong? Would you get pissed off, angry and go after them? Or would you go, oh no, 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 oh well, never mind. Okay? Fuck off. Okay? Of course you'd go after it. It's your money. Okay? So you would commit actual bodily harm to get your money back. Okay? Because we don't live in Florida, we don't have stand your ground laws. You rugby tackle somebody and beat them to death with their own shoes in Yorkshire and you're going to prison. Yeah? But you wouldn't care because it's your money, it's your £5 grand, I want it back. True, not true? True, okay? Let me ask you a question. What are you willing to do to get the £5 grand in the first place? If you had to call 50 strangers to get the £5 grand in the first place, if you had to work some awkward hours, if you had to not do your thing at the weekend to earn your £5 grand, would you do it? Would you not do it?
If it was promised.
If it was promised, go sell some shit. They'll pay you. I promise you. Anybody been stiffed on their income by Novo by Curve? Nope. Okay. It's up there. There's 125 grand a year up there waiting for you. It's a bit awkward. I don't want to call strangers. No, I don't want to do that. That's all. No, it's not polite to call, but it's a bit boomer. It's a bit 90s to pick up the phone and call people. No, I don't want to do that. Okay? Most people would beat a stranger to death to keep their own money, okay? But they won't lift a bloody finger to go and get it in the first place. Is it just me or is that perverse? Yeah? Weird, isn't it? But it's true. And you can relate this to your candidates and clients, by the way. Most people are much more motivated by the fear of loss than they are by the anticipation of gain. Okay? So if you had 125 grand of income each year and I started to take it off you, you would kick and fight and bite to stop me. But why, oh why, do people, not you, obviously you're far too intelligent for this, but why, oh why, do people move heaven and earth to keep something? They'll move heaven and earth and commit actual bodily harm to keep their 5 grand, but they won't do shit to get it in the first place. That is the reality of human beings. Because human beings are smart and can do amazing things, and they're also goddamn stupid. Okay? And this is why, by the way, I'm saying people, not you, because you would, if I said this about you, you'd quite reasonably start crossing your arms and getting a bit defensive. Okay? He's not, no, I'm relaxed. This is just how I relax. I sit here supporting my six-pack. Yeah? But that's the thing, guys. Okay? Once you get really clear on that, why, oh why, oh why would you move heaven and earth to keep money, to keep possessions, and not work to get them? Because the reality is, in most cases, getting the stuff is a hell of a lot easier than keeping it. That applies to material things. It applies to growing your business, to selling stuff. It applies to the special forces. You know, if somebody gets in the SAS, okay, they have this grand ceremony where somebody goes, "Congrats, here's your hat." It's a lot more difficult to keep than it is to get it. That's it. And then they send you off to a hut. That's the grand badging ceremony of the SAS in Hereford. Oh, cheers, well done. Fuck off. Yeah? Why?
It's the uncertainty, isn't it? Like if you told me I had to make a million calls to a million different strangers, I'd get it.
You would?
Yeah, I would, 100%. But it's I could make those calls and not get them.
You could. You could make those calls and get 250 grand.
Yeah.
There is a degree of uncertainty. What takes away the uncertainty? Because it's a fair point, Nick. It is. What takes away the uncertainty? We've already talked about it today. What takes away the uncertainty? Having something proven that you know works because somebody who's not as good as you has already done it. Okay? I swear to God, I make no bones about being a great recruiter. Honestly, I'm not. I've met a lot of people who are better than me. Okay? But I'm motivated and I've designed a machine that means I can be competent and do 350 a year. I've just stacked together all the percentages and all the probabilities. Okay? So if I find a change of 2 words will bump my conversion rate, I'll take it and I'll apply it across the entire year. Because 2% a year on conversion rate, as it multiplies out and compounds, it becomes huge. So I'll tweak everything to maximize the machine. I'll tweak the setup on my questions so that I can deliver the message more accurately. But you're right. Is there a guarantee that you're going to make the money on it? No. But I'll tell you one thing that is guaranteed. Million calls a bit excessive, but one thing I will guarantee is if you don't make the million calls, you making the money. I can't guarantee that you'll make it, but I can guarantee how to fail. I know it sounds bloody stupid and bloody simple. That's because it is. If you do the right things with the right people often enough, it's going to lead to some level of success. And the beauty about working here is that every single one of you can look at somebody else and go, well, if he can, if they can. Yeah, there's some market tweaks. Oh, they've gone into this particular market in the States and they're earning a higher percentage on higher salaries. Do the same. As far as I know, Joe is not saying you must work Europe and you must work these particular. You find a different niche that makes more money and does more sales. Go to it. I swear to God, Joe, James, Kev, Stu are not going to give you brown stuff for changing your market. You go make it work. Nobody cares what market you're working. Go do the Far East. Who gives a toss? Well, I wouldn't actually, but work the States, want to work North America, go to it. Fill your boots. Okay? What's fascinating to me, by the way, is all my American clients and members are bleating about how tough the market in America is. And all my European and Australian clients are going, oh, America was so good. We make so much money. Yeah? It's all about perspective. So that's the logical, rational stuff. Okay? It's slightly odd, but it's just how people is. People run away, avoid pain, and they seek pleasure. They will do more to hang on to something than they will to get it in the first place. That's not a criticism of anybody, it's just how it is. You do not need to be, the technical term is toward motivated. You do not have to be, I want goal, I want achievement, I want this, that, and the other. You can be, it's perfectly legitimate and incredibly effective to be, I'm not going back. For 20 years, that was my thing. I don't think I've ever done my personal life. I grew up in Wythenshawe, which is part of Manchester that the lads from Moss Side won't go to after dark. Right? It was, how can I put it? It was a weird place because there's grass verges and there's trees and there's gangs and drugs and violence, and it was odd. It was a very odd place. But a very small group of us kind of took it and ran with it. Okay? Because 3 of my peers that I grew up with, one became a partner in a Magic Circle law firm, the brainy one. Okay? Another was Johnny Marr of the Smiths, guitarist. Okay? If you went to university, you know the Smiths, right? Johnny Marr grew up the end of our road, okay? And the other one was Caroline Aherne. Died now, comedian. I could never watch the royal family on TV because to me that was a documentary. Because that was her mum's wallpaper and my mum's sofa. Okay? I believe it was my mum that said to Caroline Aherne, oh, I know you're vegetarian, but it's only wafer thin ham. Yeah? But those 3 grew up alongside me and they did very nicely, thank you. I did for a while. Okay? But we were all, if you actually boil down our psychology, I mean, yes, Caroline wanted to go and be a comedian? Yes. And she was obsessed by being an actress and a comedian from day one, from being about 13, because I grew up with her brother. So she was obsessed by being an actress and a comedian. Johnny Marr would practice till his fingers bled, literally. That there was always blood on his guitar, because he would just keep playing. Stell, he just wanted to do stuff in the law. Okay. Here's the thing. What they were doing is separate from their motivation. Okay? Because Johnny didn't want to feel like a failure, because he knew he had talent and he practiced to make the most out of that talent. And he didn't want to think, well, I coulda, I shoulda, but I didn't. Okay? So he would blag his way into the gigs in Manchester. He would play with the big acts just because he got backstage and kind of, oh, look, I'm a kid, I can play guitar. Yeah, bravo, go away, kid. Okay? Got drugs and people to do. Okay? Caroline was, bearing in mind that she spent her entire career talking about and replicating her childhood, she was driven away from her parents because she didn't want a life like her parents had. Stell didn't want to be a drug-dealing gangster like his dad. So he went off and became one of the UK's top solicitors. Okay? Me, I just didn't want to live in a shithole. Didn't want to live in a shithole. I didn't want my kids to live in a shithole. For years, I'm slightly confused now because Manchester's terrific. Manchester's ace. But for 20 years, my main motivation was, I'm not going back. And it pushed me all the way from shithole in Manchester to living in Ibiza and Marbella and Florence. And then I made some really shitty choices, but that's a whole different story. And none of them were about recruitment, interestingly enough. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether you're motivated towards your goals or away from what you're trying to avoid. What matters is that you're motivated. What matters is that you've got a why. Because if you've got a why, you can work out the how. And the how in this case is that. And that. Yeah? This is yes. This is no. This is, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay? Now, if you want, I can do that as a whole weekend up on stage with 10,000 people and get you to walk on fire like Tony Robbins. I can do that. Yeah? You don't need me to do that. If you want to, I'll do it just for shits and giggles, but you don't need me to do that. You've got a choice. You've got a choice now. You've got a choice now. You've got a choice now. Now. Literally every single minute, you can make a choice. Are you going to go that way, or are you going to dig your heels in and stay here? Well, yeah, I'm motivated, but I'm not seeing any traction. Well, that's because you've not spoken to enough people to find out what they really want, or we need to work on your machine. Okay? I will happily do both of those for you to unlimited extent. I will give you as much as you want for as long as you want while you're a member of the Academy. Okay? So those, if you've got that, those are all you need to finesse. Once you get those, it's not automatic, but it does become a flywheel, which is oddly enough that very first session that we did. Okay? It does become a flywheel because it leads to success, leads to success, leads to success. The better you are, the more contacts you've got, the more decision makers you've got in your contact list, the easier it is to do things. The difficult bit is getting the initial momentum. The difficult thing is getting started. The majority of the fuel that NASA uses is the first 20 seconds. It's to get it up off the ground. It's to beat the gravity well. Human performance is pretty much the same. The majority of your effort is to get the thing moving. Because once it's moving, if you want it to, it will keep moving and it will move faster and faster and better and better. With me? Yeah? But it's choices. It is not magic. Yeah? I am a hypnotist. Could I reach inside your head and pull up a few knobs? Yeah, probably. Would it stick? No, it never does. Yeah? It's conscious. And that's actually much more powerful. When you choose to have your reason in front of you every day, to have your why smack up in your eye line, okay? Right there. Mine, oddly enough, it's on my bookcase. If you ever watch any of the videos, you'll see a book called Top of the Hill, okay, by Irwin Shaw. That is, oddly enough, my why. Right there. Not going to go into it because, it's a bit personal for me. I'm not going to ask you about yours. Yeah. If you really want to get into it, I will tell you, but mine's gone a bit deep now. Which is why I work stupid hours and do stupid stuff and spend as long on emails as people want me to. Just want to make my why happen. And why is different to goals, by the way. Goals to me are milestones on the way to my why. Hang together? Right, we're in recruitment. Agreed? Right, we're in recruitment. That means we have to influence the behavior and thoughts of human beings. Can we do that through email? Yeah, bloody scattergun. Because even if your email gets opened, if you get a really good hook subject line and it gets opened, you've still got the hope that they'll read it and this, that, and the other. Can you put out a really good job ad and get people to go, well, I'm perfectly comfortable in my current job, but Mel's written an amazing job ad. I have to apply instantly and throw my career out the window because it's a good ad. Yeah, it happens. Okay? But generally, people who respond to job ads are unhappy where they are. Whereas generally, the really, really great candidates that you want are doing fine where they are. They're perfectly happy where they are. They're being taken care of. That's why you want them, because they're really good. Yeah? So, how do we get people to change? There's only two ways. It's through what they say and through what we say. Guess which of those is much more powerful? Them, because they're the most influential person in their life. They're with themselves all day long. They take themselves on holiday. They take themselves to Christmas. The one person you can't get away from is you. So when you go on a holiday, I feel like a completely different person. That's because your internal monologue changed. You don't think people do? I feel like a completely different person when I'm on holiday. Okay, unless you have a major psychological issue, that's not true. It's just that you're saying different stuff to yourself while you're on holiday. Okay? There are situations where it could be true, and pharmacology is useful for that, together with years of therapy. Okay? What you say is a fact. What I say is an opinion. This is why when people go on social media and they disappear down the rabbit hole of their own opinions, they get into the echo chamber. Okay? Because people like to be validated. They like to get the opinions of people who are just like them. It's not nice to be confronted with awkward facts or awkward opinions, unless you want to really pick a fight with somebody and disagree. Yeah? But people disappear that home because the stuff they're reading is just like the voice in their head. So it must be true. John Kennedy was assassinated by Vulcans. Yes, absolutely. Because look, there's all these people that are saying it, and I'm thinking there's all these people saying it, so it must be true. You can't be judgmental about the inside of other people's heads because they are thinking it, they're saying it, so in their head it's true. So messaging, what I say, is kind of the least important thing. Not quite, because I do have a message to take, but I will need to find out what you think. I need to find out what's going on in your life. I need to find out what you want. I need to find out why you want it. And I need to know how you'll know that you've got it. Okay? What you want, why you want it, how you'll know that you've got it. Oh, these are gems, guys. These are little pearls coming out here. If I know those three things, what do? I play them back to you. Well, look, you're looking for this reason, and this is how you'll get the evidence of it. Well, because of that, why don't we do this? And my message is to play back the inside of your head to you. I play back your opinions to you. Because that is the path of, it's not the path of least resistance, it's the path of zero resistance. Because of everything you think and everything you are and everything you say, because of that, why don't we do this? That's everything I've done over the past probably the last couple of months in 2 sentences. But there's a big precursor. That is great, okay? What has to happen? What has to be true for you to do that? What has to happen for you to be able to do that consistently? Not a million calls, mate, but what has to happen for you to be able to do that consistently? Right? You got to pick up the phone and talk to another human being. Pick up the phone to me includes Zoom, by the way. You've got to talk verbally, visually to another human being. Not writing, not proposals, not slide deck, not emails. One to one, one to several interpersonal communications. You and me having a chat. Because how the hell else do I find out what's in the inside of your head? If I don't ask you, build some rapport and pull it out. Yeah? Now, last week I asked the guys who were here, and I use guys generically, not gender related. I asked the guys who were here, okay? I can't believe I have to say that, but I do. But I asked the guys who were here if you had the perfect candidate and you'd sent the perfect email to the perfect list, how motivated would you be? How happy would you be to pick up the phone? You went, pick up the phone, shut up. Yeah? Most people went somewhere between 3 and 7. Yeah? I think that's probably a little optimistic. Most people, it's probably between 1, which means I'd rather sandpaper my eyeballs, and a 5-6, which is, well, yeah, I'll do it unless I've got a nice root canal to go to. Yeah, I've got a root canal, I'll do that instead. Okay? Most people don't get enthusiastic about picking up the phone and calling strangers. Okay? Me included. Me included, gentlemen and lady. I've been doing this for 40 years. I know it doesn't look like it. I started when I was 3. I've been doing this for 40 years. And my first 5 calls every day are an act of discipline and will. I don't look at the phone and go, yay, the chance to make money. That's my 10th call. And the first 5, yeah, I'd rather be filing paper clips. But once I've done the first 5, I'll do 6, 10, 40, 80, million. Don't care. Okay? Because all of the automatic negative thoughts, the ants that are running around my head, that are running around in yours, okay? You've all got these little ants doing this inside your head, automatic negative thoughts. Okay? My first 5 calls get me to realize that those automatic negative thoughts are not true. And my automatic negative thoughts no longer, because I've been doing this a while, no longer am I thinking, oh, they're going to tell me to piss off. Oh, it's going to be horrible. I'm going to crash and burn and it's going to be disgusting. Oh, God, how will I ever live with myself? I don't think that anymore. My automatic negative thoughts are, shit, I could be doing something more productive. No, I couldn't. My recruitment side of the business, there is nothing more productive than talking to a prospect or a candidate. That's it. Fundamentally, the machine is about getting me to that point. The machine is about what happens after I've done that. But the job is that. So my automatic negative thoughts are me trying to procrastinate. God's honest truth. Okay? Cannot be more honest and open than that. Okay? Your automatic negative thoughts will be different, but you've got them. Okay? I know you do. It's just what flavour, it's just what colour, it's just how big your ants are. So, I said I was going to do some deep bendy mind stuff today. Okay? Here cometh the deep bendy mind stuff. Okay? Fair warning, you'll enjoy this, but you'll be wondering what the hell just happened. And you'll partway through the process, you'll think, is he taking the piss or what? No, I'm not. Okay? This is genuine stuff. So, pens, papers, out the way. Okay? Hot water bottle, please. Out the way, just for a sec. Thank you. Okay, push your chair back a little bit. Put both your feet flat on the floor. Okay? Unless you have to, that means you have to like scoot forwards in your chair. Just sit back and relax a sec. Okay? You can do this with your eyes open or your eyes closed. It works a lot better with your eyes closed, but it's entirely up to you. So if you just close your eyes and I'll come around and nick all your phones and your wallets and stuff, it's fine. Okay? So your eyes closed, just take a deep breath in. Let it go. Wiggle your shoulders once. Just give your shoulders a little bit of a wriggle just to relax the tension in the shoulders. Okay? Okay. Take another deep breath in. Let it go. Okay? Take another one in. And as you let this breath go, I want you to imagine that you're about to pick up the phone and call a prospect. You're about to pick up the phone to follow up an e-shot. Okay? Now, if that picture that's in your head is automatically wonderfully positive, feel free to ignore the next couple of minutes. If it's anything other than angels' choirs, if it's anything other than, oh God, yes, follow this through with me, okay? Take another deep breath in, let it go, and let that picture of you're about to pick up the phone pop into your head. I don't know what it is you're seeing. I don't know whether you're seeing the desk in front of you or the phone, or you've got your headset. I don't know what it is you're seeing. But however that image presents itself, whatever's going on inside your head, okay, turn the brightness on the image down so it's half as bright. And however it's presenting in your head, turn the volume down a little bit. Turn the volume down so it's half as loud, whatever you're hearing. Take a deep breath in, let it go, and as you let it go, turn whatever's in your head into a cartoon. Okay? So it's a cartoon, it's a Warner Brothers cartoon, it's an Animaniacs cartoon, whatever it is. Okay? Turn it into a cartoon. Okay? And see that thing that was bothering you half as bright and as a cartoon. Okay? Now make the cartoon go black and white. Okay? Turn the volume right down and make it half as bright again. So it's much dimmer and much more difficult to see. And while you're looking at that really dim black and white cartoon, I want you to think about picking up the phone and see just how concerned you are, how apprehensive you might be, how much negativity you've got. What are you thinking about it that way? Take a deep breath in, let it go, and run that video backwards. Run it backwards as fast as you can. Black and white cartoon, hard to see, running at double speed backwards. Okay? If you walk in, you walk out. You pick up the phone, you put it down. If it's somebody saying something, they're saying it twice as fast and backwards. Okay. Now, we're about halfway through. Let me ask you a question. If I gave you the perfect candidate and the perfect e-shot and the perfect list of prospects, scale of 1 to 10, 1 means I'd rather sandpaper my eyeballs, that's the clean version of that line, or 10 means shut up, I'm going to pick up the phone. Okay? Where are you now? My guess is, if we've done this thoroughly, if we've done it right, you're a bit less apprehensive. You might not feeling positive yet, but you're a bit less apprehensive. Okay, so take a deep breath in, let it go, and as you're thinking about picking up the phone, notice where you've got some kind of feeling in your body. There's that sensation of apprehensiveness or concern or whatever it is. It's sat somewhere in your tummy, or it's sat somewhere in your chest, or it's in your left big toe, or it's wherever it is. Okay, notice that feeling. Okay, now if that feeling had a color, what color would it be? Well, let's turn that color all the way down. Turn the brightness on that color all the way down. And what you'll also notice is that if that feeling of negativity or concern or apprehension is going to stay with you, it has to have some kind of movement. It's not a lump, it's not an arrow, it's a moving, it's spinning in some way, shape or form. It might be going forwards, it might be going clockwise. Which way is it going? How is it moving? Okay. Now just try this. Get that feeling, push it out in front of you, pull it back in and spin it the opposite way. If it was going clockwise, it's now going anti-clockwise. If it was going forwards, it's going backwards. Spin it the opposite way, spin it the opposite way, spin it faster. Spin it faster and spin it bigger. Okay? Because the opposite of fear is excitement. The opposite of apprehension is confidence. Okay? So take a deep breath in, let it go. You've got the perfect list and the perfect candidate with the perfect e-shot. Okay? I want you to think about what you're about to do. Think about picking up the phone. Okay? I want you to do this. Remember the most exciting, positive experience you've ever had in your life. I don't care who you were with, I don't care what you were doing, I don't care if you were on your own or where you were. The best, most positive experience you've ever had in your entire life. Just think about that for a second. Okay? Think about that. Feel where that feeling is in your body. That feeling of excitement, that feeling of pleasure. Okay? Get that feeling and double it. Feel that feeling of pleasure, excitement, revel in it, double that feeling, and double it again. Okay? And while you're feeling that feeling, think about making a call. Feeling that feeling, making the call. Feeling that feeling and making the call. Feeling that feeling and making a call. Okay, take a deep breath in. Wriggle your shoulders. Okay? And bring in all that excitement and good stuff out with you. Okay? Come back into the room, open your eyes up, have a look around. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Oh, that's a party trick. It's only transitory. Yeah, it's true. Okay? But if you do something and it works, if you do something and you ask yourself, okay, why was that good? Why did that help me? What can I do to build on it? And then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And you improve your process, and you improve your questions, and you improve what you say and how you say it. Someday, my friends, you'll get that block of slate, and you chisel and you go, it'll fall off. You keep that mindset, and you do the right stuff with the right people in the right way at the right frequency, you'll get the results. You can't not. It is impossible. Okay? Because recruitment does not rely on your education. Actually, that's not true. If you're dealing at the sort of Odgers, Ray Burnson, Heidrick and Struggles, yeah, your network from school kind of helps. Okay? But for the majority of us, for you and me, it's not about your education. It's not about your background. It's not about anything other than what you do, with whom, and how. Okay? You all, every single one of you, has everything you need to go do £1 million this year. Okay? £500,000 isn't your ceiling, it's your floor. It's there. You just have to fine tune some shit and stay focused. Okay? And if you were doing the why exercise and it didn't really pop for you, go back and do it in the privacy of your own time. Preferably outside call phone time. Okay? But take a half an hour, take an hour, and get really, really crystal clear. For me, I'll give you a slight insight. I've got some stuff I want to achieve. I've got some stuff I want to do. That's the toward, okay? And the away from, because I've got a combination, okay? My toward is where I want to be, what I want to do, with whom, and how often, okay? And I've got that really clearly planted up here. My away from is I want to prove people wrong, okay? I want to prove that I can do it again, okay? Because pre-COVID, this is not an exaggeration, pre-COVID, I was making €800,000 a year, okay? And we blew it up. No pussying around with this, I blew it up, okay? In the 3 weeks after COVID and the 3 weeks before, completely my fault, okay? So my away from is I want to prove that I can do it again. I want to prove them, there is no them, by the way, but I want to prove them wrong. Okay? I use creative paranoia. I want to imagine that people are talking about, he's shit talking me behind my head, behind my back. Okay? I've never seen him do it, but I just know he is. He's talking shit about me. Okay? And I use that paranoia creatively to get me where I want, to get me my income, my lifestyle, the hours I want to do, the places I want to be, the people I want to be with, the things I want to do. Okay? Away from and toward. But I've got a why. Okay? I've got a why. In my case, I have one bizarre advantage that you don't, unless you set it for yourself. Okay? I've got a time scale. Okay? I'm 62 years old. There is a functional limit to how long I'm doing this. Okay? I don't care how much I lift in the gym. I don't care how good my knees are at this point. There's a limit. Okay? At some point, I ain't doing this anymore. I've got a finite time scale, which drives speed. It drives urgency. It can be really useful to create some bullshit timescale for yourself. It can be really useful to say, I have to do this by then. Give yourself a chance. Okay? I have to be doing £500,000 in the next 3 months. Give me a break. Give yourself a wind-up time. But if you've got a why and a deadline, and you do those 3 things in mindset, if you're not seeing the webinar, go watch the webinar. I don't know whether you enjoyed it. I think it was great. Yeah? Go watch the webinar And you've got everything you need on this stuff. We've covered it in person. It's all in there anyway. Okay? And you want to get really specific. We had a bit of back and forth about an email. Okay? You want to get into it? I'll spend as long as you like, as often as you like. I'll do whatever it takes, whatever I can to help you make the step up. Not just because it helps my business, but because that's a big part of my why, actually. I like it, it's fun. I'm not entirely altruistic. If I help you, you'll help me in the future and it'll look good to other people, so my business will prosper. But it's also bloody good fun. I enjoy it.